kind of chill back a bit sometimes, but you don't want that to take too long. We're going to be starting things off here on Crystal Temple. How are you feeling early on about where you're leaning towards with this match?
Someone tweeted earlier, and I forget their name, so I apologize for that, but they said, or maybe it was in Twitch chat, they said when Boomie is playing meta, that's a very, very strong Boomie. And even though we don't see too many Jalas going in right now, there are a lot of things that are extremely meta about this character. The defense is probably like the least meta thing going on, but of course sword, of course axe, solid signature kit, and a player like Boomie knows how to get in and out and not take too much damage to where that defense lack really hurts him.
And a big thing we talked about all weekend is just the whiff punish game from a lot of people at the top. And Java refusing to let that opportunity come in. The reversal Seer though does allow him to get back on, and the Seer in fact takes it out. That KO potential coming in there. We were just talking about the signatures having a lot of range, not necessary in that point, but we did see already a couple early attempts from Boomie on those as well.
We'll see if Java can bring this back here. He does have the sword in hand. Next weapon he picks up, I believe, will be that hammer. I don't think he just primed a sword. But Java coming in on the other side, we mentioned in the pre-show that he's one of the few sort of newer-ish players making it this deep in bracket that hasn't really been tempted by the seductress that is the axe. He's always been the Bodvar. Every solid placement we've seen has been the Bodvar. He's stuck with this character for so long, specifically like the default skin. Like Trucker Bodvar belongs to Lil Cap, but default skin, for the most part, belongs to Java.
There's been a few times where I've just said Bodvar instead of saying Java's name,
Definitely.
and there's no difference. It's the same picture. And like when it comes to what Java's been able to perform with, it's for good reason. Now, may not have that axe, but has so much KO power in that hammer too that he's not really falling apart on that department. Granted, having a bit of a struggle getting back on the stage, so as we see Boomie close out that stock.
That's one of those strong signatures that I was talking about, specifically that sword D-Sig. Doesn't have a lot of range, but it comes out lightning fast, and he was able to put it right over that corner, especially on a map like Crystal Temple. If Java's hurt box peaks up just a little bit too high, he doesn't have a lot of room to go in there, so you can make that critical error, and then Boomie was right there to capitalize on it. Perfect.
That's been such a big strength for so many characters. As we see, oh, wait, reversal Seer. Are you going to be able to get that back? No!
Wow.
The reversal Seer comes through and immediately covers with the dare, making sure that you do not get back, and you're up a stock there. So it's kind of worth it to just fall with Java at that point. You were already taking quite a bit of damage. It's worth the push.
I hope we get the replay of that for just how excruciatingly long Boomie did not use that recovery. He held it so late. That's like vintage Boomie, where he would spend so much time off screen, completely comfortable, spending his time down there, knowing exactly what his in-air movement economy is, knowing what he can spend, when he can spend it, and his opponents are not as comfortable on the edge as Boomie can be, and we just saw that, man. That time where he didn't use that recovery, I was clinching.
Yeah, it was getting so close, and historically, you're like, Boomie's always been one of the people that you don't get a free edge guard on. Most of the time you want to establish fear to say, hey, you don't get to get back for free. Boomie's routes are insane. That's why he has such a good history. But damage control-wise, just the way that he was able to invalidate the sword fight, and just even though most of the damage came in on the hammer for Java, he couldn't actually get the stomp Seers. He couldn't get the closing hit. So even though he got a lot of stray Seers, it wasn't enough to actually put fear into Boomie, and by the time he got back, he just got her on the edge guard.
Now, I like that you bring up the idea of a quote-unquote free edge guard, because I remember sitting with Boomie in the audience of many different lands, and he was one of the most critical people to call that out when we're watching a game in front of us and someone has that free edge guard where their opponent has to blow everything to get back. They have to like dodge into the wall, you touch the wall, your iframes are done, and you have that free edge guard. So the fact that you bring that up is 100% correct. That's from years ago, Ajax.
It's one of those things that, like, especially in the platformer genre, if you have good defense in the points where you're going to go down, it frustrates the opposing player because they can't close out the stock, especially in situations like on this stage here where you have a lot of room to hover around. It's going to be easy to reverse Java, but Java luckily has the KO power on hammer. We haven't been seeing too much of it, but Java is definitely someone you cannot feel too comfortable with the lead on.
Boomie does have a nice lead on him so far, but there you see nice 3-piece coming in. That's going to even it up a little bit more. That's where some of that lack of defense might come into play for a character like Chala, especially when you have specifically that hammer that you're going up against. You're going to feel those hits. They are going to be chunks.
Yeah, and so, see, we were talking about not wanting to poke your head about that ledge. It's so difficult as you're staring down right at that mid-range there. Like, hey, here's the free bait. Here comes the side signal. And Boom, this is looking like a lot of prime Boomie. We were a little worried about would like Boomie have that rebound. He's looking very clean so far, Sparky.
If you're a player who has so much experience like Boomie does, it's one of those things where you have a poor placement. It doesn't weigh on you as much as like a more newer player who doesn't have that experience. So he's bouncing back from some of those rougher placements this at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. But this game is so much more even. We're seeing Java, he is a little bit behind, but he's doing a great job, especially with his hammer, of fighting his way back in. There's a two-piece. He takes a two-piece, but he might find another one. Drops the stomp Sair. Again, finding 2, 3, 4 hits. Unanswered 5 hits. Might get the KO here. This would be a huge lead. Finishing that one up. I don't believe Boomie can get back. He could.
Wait, man. You can't say that sentence with Boomie attached to it. He always finds a way back. Not that time, though. It's going to take it out. But that was all off of the consistent combo game from Java. He couldn't get any grounded starters in the last one. He figured it out there on the second stock.
And you even see on the recovery, he didn't get that stock right away, but Java didn't give up. He knew where the power position was. He knew where he needed to be, and he did clean it up in the long run. So not giving up, sort of understanding how Boomie was going to recover back to the platform. That's why Java's in the lead. That's why we have a radically different game from the previous one.
Yeah, well, actually, this could be a big opportunity here for Java as he connects on it. That should close it. He's going all the way on stage, and he's dominating that second game. He ended it with a 2-stock and really sent a message back to Boomie saying, we are not done here by any means. What did you like so much about the changes there and what Java did in game number 2?
He had so much more swag that game. You saw in like all of his movements, even Boomie had a lot of swag that game, but just the way Java was playing, the way he was moving, you could see the confidence. He misses the recovery. He's ready to cover right below him with a weapon toss. You saw him kind of drop the edge guard initially when we thought Boomie was dead. He was still able to clean it up in the end. And then this, just ultimate confidence here. Yeah, beautiful dare. He's under the stage, doesn't panic, jumps once, turns around, doesn't immediately try to dodge or recovery. He throws out the side air because he knows that's where Boomie is.
And what was great about that side air positioning too, if you whiff there, you're right next to the wall. You get to go right back. You get right back on stage. So risk management was great while making sure to get the KO. Speaking of KOs, we're going to see them go pretty quickly here as we switch up to Brawlhalla.
Now, last game being the way it was compared to the first game being the way it was, that's why these two, at least in official tournaments, are so close to one another. It is 2-3 in favor of Boomie. So that's a Game 5 situation in terms of overall career sets in official tournaments.
And I think Java has a lot of similarities of late in what we've seen out of Swada, where Swada kind of just had that endgame tear last season and coming in. Granted, both of them being Bodvard, it wasn't intentionally meant to be the reference, but they have been on a tear as we see Java continuing to push off the top. The Sair does come back in, but he got a lot of damage out of that he was taking for E4 from Boomie.
Java was so close. He had to have been so close to getting the devious lick to steal that stock with that sword nair. If that was like 2016 sword nair, Boomie was done there.
Yeah, like, that puts fear into you because you haven't been chased that high up yet, and now you have to worry about it. Okay, Java has decided to completely remove this whole aspect of you getting to get back on any route you take. I'm going to meet you down there.
He's definitely so confident right now, and I can applaud that even though he's behind, because you see he was able to even up the stock relatively quickly using that lower ceiling on Brawlhalla to pick up that D-Light recovery earlier than he would on another map if we're talking like Great Hall or something like that. Now he's coming back in. He has the weapon advantage. It's the hard-hitting hammer. Each hit he finds is going to be a chunk. He's found them really well. His hurt box doesn't go too high to get hit by the signature. Java has basically evened this up, and he's very close to getting the lead.
What an incredible job getting back into it. You see Boomie hasn't been able to connect on any of those side six he's been looking for other than like the first one, but it's still, he's not falling for the fear tactic at ledge anymore. And that is going to have to force Boomie to change things up as we try to see another big attempt at one right there on the axe instead. But Java is going to lose that stock, but that could have been a whole lot worse on where the damage would have been.
It could have been, but also we got to look at Boomie's in orange right now. He has the weapon advantage as well. We'll see how quickly Java can grab. When you see him floating, hoping the weapon spawn comes in, he grabs grabs it, it's a sword. Boomie's only in the orange, so I don't think he's going to be knocked out here. Maybe a D-Sig would actually be a beautiful thing for Java to throw out. Waiting for it, hoping it's going to happen, but it seems like he doesn't use it very much compared to some other Bodvar players. Has weapon control as well. He just played around and didn't want to waste too much time just sticking on the weapon, giving Boomie more presence on the stage, hoping for the recovery, but it doesn't connect.
I gotta say, it's partially bingo to wait for you to point out the Bodvar D-Sig, but also in that moment, I was kind of waiting for it because that just the great arc that it covers if Boomie makes that mistake. You're right, he doesn't actually go for it too much. He's way more primarily going for hammer. He uses sword on occasion to get that quick damage, but he doesn't use the sword sigs very often.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. His favorite signature is the sword side heavy, and it's only with like 36 uses. For how much he plays this character, it's not very much. On the other side, Boomie, the Val sword neutral heavy, has 55 uses on that. And when's the last time you saw Boomie play Val?
Exactly. It's been a lot. I mean, even at Winters, I don't think Val showed up once, but we are going to see this Jala show up for sure. Catching him with the Sarah, going to get the game and moving up 2-1. Have we had a game 5 yet so far in top 16 or top like anywhere in this range? Because I feel like
some of those early sets certainly felt like
felt
5
long, yes,
games,
but
I don't think we have the Coslicks versus Experience game 5 situation happen off stream. So that's the only one that we would have seen on the winner side of the bracket.
I feel like this is going to be the first one because Boomie did take that game, but Java was so close with it. Now, Boomie can just have a Boomie-esque game and completely run through Java.
Absolutely.
But I think the way that Java's defense has been on the recovery attempts, I mean, even right there, the damage is dead even.
Absolutely. It's so close between these two players. And that's exactly what we wanted to see. This is why in my predictions and Duke's predictions, we had basically the same top two. They were in slightly different order, if I remember correctly. But our third place, he chose Java, I chose Boomie. And if we flipped those, I wouldn't be too angry if I was quote-unquote stuck with Java in third place. I don't think he would be too angry if he was stuck with Boomie in third place either. These two are so evenly matched. And that's one of the reasons I was so excited to watch this set, and I'm so glad that you and I both get to call this set.
Absolutely. And now me, I'm a little panicking a little bit because I was the one who decided to have extreme faith in Java this time around. But it's also one of those times where regardless of predictions, this is just great Brawlhalla we're seeing here. Great adjustments from both players. I'm very curious to see where we go for stage 4 because we have been taking the world tour so far. Where do you think we're heading?
I'm not sure. I think we may just go back to a default Mammoth. I don't know if either of these players has that much of a relationship that dedicated to any stage. I know Boomie can go to basically any stage. I know he definitely has his preferences of if I'm an Axe player, or if I'm going against an Axe player, I don't want to go to Crystal Temple, but seeing as Boomie is the Axe player in this situation, I think he's reasonably happy going into the Crystal Temple. It also has those tiny side walls. I'm looking at Sword D-Sig.
Yeah, and that's also the first game that Boomie won. We started here. He's going to be able to control this. So much range from recovery. From there, you have just that platform is yours as the Axe player. So Java's got to figure something out. He was able to make some adjustments, but maybe Java just decided, I don't want to play you on flat stage with demons, so let's cut off the sides a little bit, but still have some room to press you on the platforms. Let's see if it actually matters.
I think now that Java has gotten caught a couple times by that down signature or something peeking over the corner like that, I think he has fully learned on how to avoid that. Maybe to see him playing lower on that wall. We're even seeing Boomie, he's peeking over the wall just a little bit again. I want to see that Sword D-Sig. I think that would be a valuable tool in Java's kit if he doesn't get taken out here. The down air is going to finish that one up. That was a basically white KO. Boomie on the edge is so scary.
I was incredibly surprised that Java decided to go off stage. Overextension maybe, but tried to get that early edge guard, put some fear into Boomie, and Boomie kept composure and got the reversal and pretty much took away the steam at the start of this game and not having a hard time getting to a weapon.
And he's still running with it. Not only did the steam just dissipate from Java's choo-choo train, but Boomie seemed to be able to bottle it up somehow and funnel it into his own choo-choo train. As he keeps the momentum going again, stuck over on the wall, it seems like Boomie over here is not at a disadvantage. If Java goes over there, he's the one at the disadvantage.
I had no idea we were watching an episode of Mr. Rogers. The way we're going, with all of the change coming to full stop at the moment, and Java really needs to get that engine going once again.
This is rough.
Boomie has, look at this lead, 3 stocks up to 1. The Java dream is slowly starting to dissipate here in this portion of winners because Boomie has complete control.
This set started here on Crystal Temple, and it's looking like it might end here on Crystal Temple as well, as Boomie is up 2-1 in this set. And this is the exact type of game you were talking about, where Boomie can come out and just absolutely destroy his opponent.
Yeah, there's a reason why we saw those 9 first place attached to Boomie. He has games like this. It's basically don't let it be you version 1 right now, as he tries to catch him, poking his head above the ledge. That time deciding to wait a little bit longer to mix up the timing, but look at this damage, and look at the call, and he catches him. You would have thought I would have done it twice, and I did. He catches the W and his ticket to winter semis.
Man, for how dominant that game was, like, there's a feather in my cap for putting Boomie in 3rd place over Java, but I just can't. Okay, when they slow that down, the music sounds demonic. I think there is a curse upon this studio now. There's at least a curse upon Java enacted by Boomie.
I felt like we were going into the abandoned Chuck E. Cheese just now.
Where's Freddy Fazbear?
That's
I think
what I'm
he's
worried
around
about.
the corner,
That's
man.
not the crossover I was expecting, but like incredible play from Boomie.